Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live.
Good morning, everyone. How are you all today? Thank you for coming on board. I may be saying it too early. I didn't put the link in for everyone to prepare. I woke up this morning at 6 o'clock, had some eggs, which of course is forbidden, right? Eggs are forbidden because they cost like $8 an egg, not a carton, an egg. But I was really in a mood for some. That's fine. I was really in a mood for some eggs this morning. Normally I eat cereal, but I made some. What do you call those eggs? Are they soft boiled eggs? Soft boiled eggs. I make them to perfection. I made them this morning. They were not perfect. So I had to make two more eggs just to give it that soupy feel. Like the the two that I made were textured, and I like it a little bit more soupy. So I made two more eggs and just took out the yolk. Um, and it was a good meal. And are you guys feeling happy? Can anybody tell me if that's something that they're investing in? Are you investing in happy? And what I mean by that is happiness is a feeling, right? But sometimes we get the happy and we refuse to accept it, right? So I'm feeling happy, and it's weird because I feel like there is a storm coming, by the way, like literally, but I feel like there's a storm coming. But then I have to decide, even if there is a storm coming, isn't there always a storm coming around the corner? So can I take today to be happy? Now, I expressed that with some of my clients this week, right? Like, especially like in relationships, like everyone is so afraid, where the relationship is going. And of course, I'm a big dreamer. So I say dream, 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 right? But it's not like you're dreaming. Let's just talk to girls right now, right? Because that's all I know, right? It's not like you're dreaming about what wedding gown you're going to wear one day, right? You all are dreaming about the temporary guy that you're dating and the wedding gown that you're going to wear. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? As opposed to just dating the guy that you're dating and figuring out if he's temporary. If he's not temporary, dream bigger. But first, today, right? We're just talking about today. Today, be a girlfriend, right? That goes with guys. Today, be a boyfriend. Don't worry about if I wonder if she's cheating. I wonder, I met a guy the other day. I had already met him, already exchanged numbers with him, but there was some weird stuff going with the phone lines, and he got frustrated. Guys, try not to be girls. He got frustrated, and so he gave up. So I saw him in the supermarket, and he comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey." And I knew exactly what his little problem was, right? In his little Peabody brain. And I was like, what happened? Not that I cared, guys, right? I just care that he expressed himself, right? And I was like, what happened? And he goes, I can't take it when, the phones don't go through. And I was like, huh. I said, you realize we live on an island where you're absolutely right, the phones don't come through, but who's going to make that happen better? You, me, AT&T? Who? I have Verizon. We're not even on the island, right? And I said, depending upon where you live, because I live in city limits, you may not be able to get to me. So maybe that is something you should just know moving forward, if there's a forward, right? And then he looked at the outfit that I was wearing, which it was a scoop neck, did not even show any boobs, but I really cannot hide my thick thighness, right? And it was matching purple top, purple biker shorts, sneakers. And he goes, you look good. And I go, thank you. Right? And kind of made a stupid comment about I look good for my age, but not in that way. It was kind of weird. And at that point I was like, I know, right? I don't get insulted when people tell me, oh, you look good for your age. I'm like, I know. You better know. Stop getting insulted. If you the age of Bruno or getting there and you got gray hair and somebody says you look good for your age, you have to be like, I sure do. So I say that to him, not feeling the insult, although I don't think he was trying to insult me. I'm just saying people don't know how to talk to people. And then he goes, if you're with me, keyword on if, child, because that's my choice. He goes, if you're with me, you can't walk around like that. And I thought, Ninja, what? One, I don't know you. Let's just start there. And two, what? So I think on it for a second, but I'm a fast thinker, right? I'm a native New Yorker, right? So I don't have a problem with that. And I go, dude, the other outfits I have are worse than this. Like, what are you doing? They're worse than this. And how is it that you're controlling me, like, out the gate? He goes, I'm not controlling you. It's exhausting. So clearly I was going to let him go. Clearly. This cannot be a date. This cannot be a thing. To tell you the truth, this shit can't even be a friendship. Nope. Why did I bring that up? I bring that up to say I want everyone to practice happy in the moment, right? Everything doesn't have to be tomorrow, right? And so when that guy was talking about his tomorrow, if you date me, you can't wear like uh you need to be in a place of happy gratitude. You need to be in a place of you're lucky I'm talking to you because clearly you have issues. Oh, let me see who's on today because I haven't been checking. Hi, Sunny Yachty. Oh, very much so. Hi. Hi, Cookie Twist Evolving Beauty. Oh, I love that name. Absolutely, she says. Black coffee, no cream. Good morning, Miss Tracy, and to everyone. Good morning, sweeties. How are you? So, oh, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. So, I say that to say when someone invests in me and he doesn't display any level of care or happiness, it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. Okay, let me see if my earphones aren't ready yet. Hold on, guys. Alrighty, guys. I just want to tell everyone that tarot class is, drum roll please, next week. Tarot class is next week on the 15th. Come join me. Of course, there are still openings, so please feel free to come join me. We are investing in the tarot in a way where it shakes up your belief system, right? In a way where you get to understand why you're changing, in a way where you get to understand why you don't go to church. You're not being rebellious against church. You're understanding that there's a higher belief system, right? You just don't have what it takes to know why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, right? And that's what my tarot class does. It introduces you to tarot, gets you to absolutely understand the cards. But in the long run, you know what it does? It gets you to understand yourself and others. It spiritually helps you to break down why you do the things that you do, why it makes sense, why you're seeing double numbers and sequence numbers and numbers all day long, right? It gets you to understand that your world is changing and that your world is changing because you're entering into a normal. And when you're entering a new normal, old ways, old belief system, old ways of communicating, right, um, have to change, right? So come join me and come break up everything you've ever been taught all your life. All right, guys? So, April 15th, go to TraceyBrownlive.com to pay. You can pay weekly by all means, or you could pay in full. And please get this book, Tarot Cycles. Oh, I keep doing it. Tarot Circles and Cycles by my good friend Jason D. McKean. He's an amazing, amazing friend. And the one thing I don't do in this spiritual world, I don't give up on my spiritual friends. All right? And a friend has to be proven in the spiritual world, right? Has to be proven. I don't have to tell you you're my friend. It's a thing, it's a whole thing. You will just know it. And it's not a question. Like, no one has to question me and be like, you consider me a friend? No, we don't do that in this world. We know. And he has been my spiritual friend and spiritual ally for years. And I truly honor Jason's friendship. So, get his book. I've been waiting for another book to come through. Those of you that already took my tarot class, you know every single um, tarot class, if you've ever taken it, I do complain about the book that I've been using because it's so antiquated. I am going to use that book. You do not have to get the book. All right. This time, which is something new, please come with a pen and paper and please come with your own set of tarot cards. And if you want to get a pair of cheap tarot cards, go to Temu.com. Temu sells other things. I've actually bought stuff from them. I actually do like what they have to offer, right? But I'm just telling you that if you want to get some inexpensive tarot cards, Temu might be the place that you could consider. Tarot Circles and Cycles from the wizard, Jason D. McKean. Get the book. All right, sweeties, if you want a reading with me, I do have openings today. And just contact me, 213-458-7408. For those of you that are new to me, especially on Facebook, all readings are done on Zoom and FaceTime. If you want regular phone, that's not, of course, that's not a problem. But I'm just letting you know that all readings are done on Zoom and FaceTime. You do not have to be on camera. I'm on camera to show you the cards and to show you what your future looks like through the cards. Um, and I can't believe I like Zoom and Facebook. I can't believe it. I resisted it for so long, and now all readings are on Zoom and FaceTime. So come join me. All right. All righty now. Oh, let me just put temu.com so you guys can see. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Temu. Temu.com. Go to Temu.com. TEMU.com. Oh, Lord. Let me see if I got it right. Nope, did it again. TEMU. What is this happening? TEMU.com. The autocorrect, like they think they're doing me a favor. Oh, shit. TEMU. Damn. .com. I'll leave it up for a minute so you guys can see it. Because I kept putting temp.com, but it's the autocorrect. And I wasn't watching the autocorrect. Alrighty now, guys. So, we are reading the book. I'm going a little slow today because I do have Facebook on. We are reading the book entitled Conversations with God. And this is a book about a man, Neil Donald Walsh, that one day heard God talking to him and decided that it was God, that it was real, and decided to ask God some questions. From those questions came this book. Now, I don't know about you. I once read a book called Embraced by the Light, right? And she also had conversations with God when she went up. And I think she also met Jesus. Like, that's like down here, it's like meeting Obama, right? Please, God, forgive me. I know not what I say. And she also did the same thing, right? She met up with, she died, right? Legally, she was pronounced dead, went up to the heavens, had a conversation with God, thinking that this was heaven. And she asked questions, and God answered them. When the questions were over, she had to go meet a council of people or something, she describes. And then they said, you came here too early. You got to go back. And so they sent her back, and she was in a body bag when she came back to life. And I read her book, Embraced by the Light by Betty Eady, and it did restructure my thought processes. And the first chance I got, I read it in my book club, my Saturday book club. In the end, there were just some references that I didn't appreciate, like it was just too Catholic for me. And although the book was very helpful to my restructuring, when you grow up, right? When you grow up spiritually, right? I could no longer appreciate what the book had to offer. But at the time, I hadn't been grown spiritually, and I do believe it helped. But ultimately, when 20, 25, 30 years in, it didn't help me. And then I had to really assess whether or not I was helping you all. I think I did finish the book. I can't quite remember, but I think I did finish the book because I was committed to that process. But it actually is a book I may never recommend again. to anyone, and I've recommended it for years. So now we're at this Neil Walsh book. Oh, by the way, I also read Revelations. You should really listen to that series, also on YouTube. All these books are on YouTube. The most recent one we read was The Alchemist. Ooh, child, that was good. The Alchemist was good. That's a good, good book. I think The Alchemist is turning into a movie by Will Smith eventually. In fact, I think the movie is done, but since Will Smith slaps people, I think it's on hold for a minute. So now I'm reading Conversations with God, written by Neil Donald Walsh. And I dare say that it's difficult to understand? Do I dare say that? Well, it is. And so I struggle a little bit understanding God, right? I struggle understanding God. At first, I thought it was Neil, but now I think it must be God because Jesus also talked in parables and nobody understood him. So I just think it's a thing with heaven's language. Oh well. So what I do is I pray and I ask God for guidance and I impress upon God that I am doing this not just for me because I love reading, one, and in becoming spiritual, I used to read so much because that's all I had was books. But once I got around people, I stopped reading and I realized you actually can't become spiritual unless you read. You can't. To me. Maybe I could be wrong, but I just don't think you can. It's not enough to have people talk. It's not enough for you just to do tarot cards. You've got to read. Like, words get inside you. Okay, enough. So every Saturday, I pray that God, and this is the beginning of the prayer, that God would give me the right insight to understand what I am reading for myself and what I can reinterpret that's going on here for others. I beg you, God, to give me insight. I beg you, God, to allow me to have the right amount of intelligence to be moved and to allow myself to interpret and then reinterpret. You have been showing me, God, that that is something I can do, so I am honored. But I will continue to pray, if not beg, for the continuous growth. I love you, God. I love you, Jesus. In your name I pray. Amen. 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 All right, let's get this party started. Oh, wait. Happy Easter. I don't want to forget that. Oh, happy Easter, everyone. Have an amazing Easter. Remember, if you are around family today, happy's today. If you are not around family, celebrate this Easter by living, by being happy. All right? Find a community that you could belong to. Maybe not starting tomorrow, but it would be advantageous to find a community that you could belong to. All right, everyone. Let's begin. We are on page 44. I'm going to start at if on page 44, second paragraph in. If you do not go within, you go without. Remember this axiom. If you do not go within, you go without. Put it in the first person as you repeat it to make it more personal. If I do not go within, I go without. You have been going without all your life, yet you do not have to. You never had to. There is nothing you cannot be. There is nothing you cannot do. There is nothing you cannot have. What do you guys want? What's your biggest dreams? What's your small milestones? Who wants to go back to school but they're 50? You can if you want to. I know a girl that went back to school and unemployment paid for everything because the rules were in place for them to do so prior to the COVID. And unemployment kicked in, and most people don't have the knowledge that this is something that they can authorize for themselves. She had the knowledge, went to unemployment. Unemployment paid for her education for the next 2 years. What do you want to do? Do you want to skydive? Do you want to visit another country? What is it? It doesn't have to be big. Do you want to take art classes? What is it? In your grown age, what could it be? Find a way to do it. Because what if that's the only thing that makes you restructure what happy looks like? Right? What part about you was forgotten? You know what my motto is? Have no regrets. Have zero regrets. When I wanted to come to St. Croix, I just put it out in the ether. And I asked God for 2 years, why can't I go to the Caribbean? I even went on a cruise to look at the other Caribbean islands, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Barbados, not realizing I can't go there because they're owned by the Brits, I believe. But I still went to all the islands because if there was an island I wanted to move to, you can rest assured I would have found a way to do it, which I think Bermuda in my age bracket would have been a great island to go to also. And I've been to Bermuda as well on my honeymoon. I feel like I've been to Bermuda twice. Beautiful island, just not for 20-year-olds, right? You have been going without all your life, yet you do not have to. You never did. There is nothing you cannot be. Are you guys listening to me? There is nothing you cannot be. There is nothing you cannot do. There is nothing you cannot have. You can even have stability, Layla. You might have to change some things and kick some people out of your space, but you can have stability. That's a huge want. That's huge. Give yourself permission to work on what stability looks like to you. And then once you work on it, don't let anyone infiltrate that system that you call stability. And sometimes we just have to take our time creating something, right? Because I don't know your circumstances. Even though you think I might, I don't, right? But I never remember any one person's reading. But Stability could look like moving away, leaving everybody and everything behind. Stability could look like finding that job and having a conversation with God to say, I need to stay here longer than I've stayed at any other job in my life. Stability could mean not moving around a lot. That's one of my problems. I move around a lot. So I had to tell God, I said, listen, God, I know you want me to meet people. Got it. But if I move every 2 years, that's unnerving. So, can you give me more time at a particular place? And God granted it, right? Of course, I had to do the things that was necessary to make sure that I was staying in place. And that part of that is to believe that I'm staying here for a while. I stayed in Koreatown for 7 years. I stayed in this part of Los Angeles. I forgot what the nickname is called, but in any case, I stayed there for 7 years. And then I came to the Caribbean. Now, here's the funny thing about coming to the Caribbean. I've actually been thinking about leaving, right? And then I had to really question, am I leaving or do I want something else? And I know what that is. So I'm not leaving the Caribbean. I feel like this place, St. Croix, needs to be the staple, needs to be the home. But in this Zoom world, I can go somewhere else for 3 months, right? And invest in other cultures without having to move. And that's what I'm thinking about doing in my futures. And if I can't do it by way of moving, I could do it by way of healing centers. So the healing retreats can be in other countries. I'm trying to process everything that I'm telling you, but because I put it out, I opened my mouth and I put it out there, I have high expectations that some part of what I want to do will be met. So, Layla, did you ever say out loud you want to be stable? Because I have to tell you, writing it the way you did just now is out loud. It has to be. There's some energetic deconstruction that's in you when you type in, particularly on a device like your phone, which reaches out to the world. That when you say, I want stability, you can have it. It's there for you to have, right? And that is on God. Just gotta believe it, sweetie. How beautiful would that be to get what you want? Stability. That's easy to get. Committing to it, that might be a problem. But getting it, you can have that on a dime. Am I getting through, Layla? I hope I am. Because stability is about happiness, right? How happy would you be if you got the stability that you need for your soul? Wow. If I do not go within, I go without. You have been going without all your life. Yet, you do not have to. You never did. There is nothing you cannot be There is nothing you cannot do. There is nothing you cannot have. Who wants to go into politics? The way this world is changing, we need some fresh voices, fresh faces. Could be city council, could be senator. Who wants to do that? If I were senator, this is what I would do. Well, go ahead and apply to be senator. You'll be surprised how the spiritual energy will give you an open road to be just that. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, it would be amazing. All right. So Neil says to God, that sounds like a pie in the sky. And God goes, what other kind of promise would you have God make? Would you believe me if I promised you less? For thousands of years, people have disbelieved the promises of God for the most extraordinary of reasons. They were too good to be true. So you have chosen a lesser promise, a lesser love. For the highest promise of God proceeds from the highest love. I love this part. Yet you cannot conceive a perfect love. So a perfect promise is also inconceivably, as is a perfect person. Therefore, you cannot believe even in yourself. Failing to believe in any of this means failure to believe in God. For belief in God produces belief in God's greatest gift, unconditional love, and God's greatest promise, unlimited potential. And Neil goes, may I interrupt here? I hate to interrupt God when he's on a roll, but I've heard this talk of unlimited potential before, and it doesn't square with the human experience. First of all, Neil, don't speak for me, child. Forget the difficulties encountered by the average person. What about the challenges of those born with mental or physical limitations? Is their potential limited? And God goes, you have written so in your scripture in many ways and in many places, right? God turns it around to him. He says, well, you wrote it in your scripture. You wrote it in many ways. You wrote it in many places. And Neil goes, well, give me one reference. And God said, look to see what you have written. Notice God's not saying what I have written. This is very powerful. Look to see what you have written in Genesis chapter 11, verse 6 of your Bible. It says, and the Lord said, behold, the people are one. They have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. And now nothing will be restrained from them. That which they have imagined to do. Right? Everything comes from a thought. You imagine it, you can have it, you could make it, you could create it, you could develop it. Yes, Neil says. Can I trust that? No, yes, God says. Now, can you trust that? Neil goes, that does not answer the question of the feeble, the infirm, the handicapped, those who are limited. And God goes, do you think they are limited, as you put it? Not of their choice? Do you imagine that a human soul encounters life challenges whenever they may, wherever, whatever they may be? By accident? Is that you're imagining? And Neil goes, do you mean a soul chooses what kind of life it will experience ahead of time? And God goes, no, that would defeat the purpose of the encounter. The purpose is to create your experience and thus create yourself in this glorious moment of now. You do not, therefore, choose the life you will experience ahead of time. Oh, that's new. You may, however, select the persons, places, events, conditions, circumstances, challenges, obstacles, opportunities, options for which to create your experience. You can select the colors of your palette, the tools for your chest, the machinery for your shop. What you create with this is your business. This is the business of life. Do you guys get that? Right? I don't think we're still answering the part about handicapped or disabled people, but in my personal experiences with dealing with the handicapped sister, right? I now know she was meant to be this way and came down consciously to be this way, right? I can't imagine that she didn't come down here and not know that she was going to be affecting others and saving others, right? And volunteered to come down disabled, right? I can tell you, I've watched my sister as a mentally challenged disabled person change people's lives. She still does it. She still does it. She still does it. She still does it. I'm watching her, right? I watch her change my life when I brought her to come live with me in California. I watched her help me to never be by myself. She changed my life and she was amazing in it. And when I say was, I don't mean past tense. I say was because I'm in St. Croix now. And she is safe and still changing others' lives. I just don't need to be there. I didn't realize it, but my job was to get her safe somewhere. And when COVID came, it was because of COVID that I realized that I was so lucky to have found the home that she lives in. She's safe. They love her. They love her. And for 2 years, I couldn't see her. At some point, I think a year in, um, I went to put on a mask. I feel like we went out to eat. And she kept saying, you don't come over to stay, but if I come over to stay, then I've got to keep the mask on. I was like, Tony's not worth it. Let's just go out and we could eat outside in the restaurant. And we did that several times, eat outside in the restaurant, but like just and even hanging out in small quarters, right? In the car, right? We have to drive with the windows down because COVID was really bad in Los Angeles. I don't know how everybody else got it. We got hell, right? And what COVID taught me was that I could leave because she is finally safe. And I really like the work that I put in to get her to a safe place. And I just made it, by the way. One more year, she'd have been stuck in this institution. I fought like hell to get her out of that institution. It's beautiful. All right, I digress. Why did I digress? You may select the persons, place, and events, the conditions and the circumstances, the challenges and the obstacles, the opportunities and the options for which to create your experience. You may select the colors of your palette, the tools for your chest, the machinery for your shop. What you create with these is your business. This is the business of life. Your potential is unlimited in all that you've chosen to do. But do not assume that a soul, which has incarnated in a body which you call limited, has not reached its full potential. For you do not know what the soul was trying to do. You don't understand the agenda. You are unclear as to its intent. And that's what I got out of my sister. Because I do question God, like, why did Sissy have to be question all of that? And even my sister questioned it one time. My sister said, she's so cute. My sister's, my ex, okay, well, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm just going to drop it. One day she questioned herself, and she didn't pose the question to me. She posed the question to my son and his fiance, I believe, at the time. And the question was, if I weren't like this, would I be with a woman? And the poor things was speechless. My son and his wife to be was like, ah, you know how they answered her? They were like, you could be that now, right? And she thought about it for a second. She was like, huh. And when they told me about it, I was like, oh Lord, what did you guys say? I just think it's important to understand that even people who have mental challenges, right, may want to be gay. And I don't think she wants to be gay. I think she wanted to have the freedom to choose. I thought that was so beautiful, right? But the other thing that I found more important is that she understood. She was like this. She was like, if I wasn't like this, oh my God, that broke my heart to know that she knows, you know? Yeah, in any case. Your potential is unlimited in all that you've chosen to do. You do not assume that a soul has incarnated in a body which you call limited, has not reached its full potential. For you do not know what the soul was trying to do. You do not understand its agenda. You are unclear as to its intent. Therefore, bless every person and condition. And listen to this, guys, and give thanks. That's deep. Give thanks. Thus you affirm the perfection of God's creation and show your faith in it. For nothing happens by accident in God's world, and there is no such thing as coincidence, nor is the world buffered by random choice or something you call fate. If a snowflake is utterly perfect in its design, do you not think the same thing could be said about something as magnificent as your life? And Neil goes, but even Jesus healed the sick. Why would he heal them if their conditions were so perfect? Oh, Neil, I'm beginning not to like you now. Like, relax, Neil. Okay, let me read the book. Okay, guys? Jesus did not heal the sick. Okay, now we got to hear clearly. Jesus did not heal the sick, says God. He saw their condition as imperfect. He healed those he healed because he saw those souls asking for a healing as a part of their process. He saw the perfection of the process. He recognized and understood the soul's intention. Had Jesus felt that all illness, mental or physical, represented imperfection, would he not have simply healed everyone on the planet all at once? Do you doubt that he could do this? And Neil goes, no, I believe he could have. And God goes, good. Then the mind begs to know, why did he not do it? Why would the Christ choose to have some suffer and others be healed? For that matter, why does God allow any suffering at any time? This question has been asked before, and the answer remains the same. There is perfection in the process. And all life arises out of choice. It's not appropriate to interfere with choice nor to question it. It's particularly inappropriate to condemn it. What is appropriate is to observe it and then to do whatever might be done to assist the soul in seeking and making a higher choice, right? So when my sister said, if I weren't like this, would I like women? The good part about that question that she posed, maybe she posed that question not for herself. Maybe she posed that question to my son and his wife, because maybe down the line, that question may come up again in their mind's eye, or may be challenged by someone that looks quote unquote normal. And that answer that they gave my sister, right, that you all think she was asking for herself, but maybe she was challenging their thought processes because she is a psychic like me. And maybe she saw that they were going to be challenged one day and was going to be forced to remember their answer to her. We never know. And what I can tell you from dealing with my sister, she's profound in her psychic abilities. Profound. And so God says, good, God says. Then the mind begs to know, why did he not do it? Heal the world. Why would the Christ choose to have some suffering and others be healed? For that matter, why does God allow suffering at any time? The question has been asked before, and the answer remains the same. There is perfection in the process, right? So what if my sister was perfecting something in these children? You never know. You never know. If I weren't like this, would I be with women? One, what's like this? In their mind's eye, what did that conjure up for them as she's looking at them with one eye and mentally challenged? If I weren't like this, right? But was she asking for herself really, or was she restructuring their thought processes? Only time will tell. I'll never know. Why would Christ choose to have some others suffer and others be healed? For that matter, why does God allow any suffering at all? This question has been asked before, and the answer remains the same. There is perfection in the process. We have to get to perfection. We have to restructure our thought and our thinking process. That's me talking. I gotta let you know when it's book and not me. We have to decide that everything is not bad. Everything is not for the world to decide is bad. If everything was, would Black people still be living? You don't have to bring color into it, right? Because that was the whole thing at one time. Some of y'all still have a problem enjoying your Black skin, your Black vernacular. Are you bad? Or are you perfect just the way you are? Could there be a soul's growth inside of you? Yes. But are you ever going to change the color of your skin? Don't try it. Actually, there is a way to change the color of your skin. Side note, Africans do it all the time. They do this thing called lightning. Don't do the lightning. Be proud of chocolate. All right. There is perfection in the process, and all life arises out of choice. It is not appropriate to interfere with choice, nor to question it. It is particularly inappropriate to condemn it. What is appropriate is to observe it, and then to do whatever might be done to assist the soul in seeking and making a higher choice. Be watchful, therefore, of the choices of others, not judgmental. Know that their choice is perfect for them in this moment, now. Yet stand ready to assist them should the choice come when they seek a newer choice, a different choice, a higher choice. Move into communion with the soul of others. Isn't that what we do every Saturday? Every Saturday. Don't we stand in communion with one another? That's why I like reading a book. I like who comes through. I like who's today is getting a message. You may not be here next week, but today you're here. And this is community. This is spiritual community. I like this. Move into communion with the souls of others. And their purpose and their intention will be clear to you. This is what Jesus did with those he healed, with all those whose lives he touched. Jesus healed all those who came to him, who sent others to him, supplicating for them. He did not perform a random healing. Oh, interesting. To have done so would have been to violate a sacred law of the universe. Oh, did you guys know that? Of course I knew it, but did I forget it? Jesus didn't go around healing. Oh my God. Wasn't it Lazarus when people were like, Jesus, Jesus, Lazarus has died. And Jesus is like, woman, he's dead. Right? Something like that. And the woman was like, Jesus, you must come. And didn't he go reluctantly? He was like, oh my goodness, again, these people asking me to heal. And then remember, I think it was with Lazarus where he told everyone to get out, right? Get out. Was Jesus talking to the soul of Lazarus that stood outside the body and said to the soul, do you wish to live? Maybe he just didn't go in and heal. Maybe he had a conversation with the soul. They want you to live. Do you wish to live? I might be getting the deaths all screwed up, but go with me, right? Because I am not a Bible thumper. And then what if the soul said, I wish to live, please, right? And then Lazarus raising it. Am I the right person? Or how about the blind person, right? Doesn't Jesus question the person and is like, why do you want to see? Right? Does anybody know? All right. Let me let me let me Google this shit. Jesus healed the blind man. All right. Let's just go. According to Mark's account, when Jesus came to Bethsaida, a town in Galilee, he was asked to heal a blind man, right? Which is what the book said. Jesus didn't just go around healing people, right? He was asked to heal a blind man. Jesus took the man by the hand and led him out of the town, right? So Jesus required some privacy to perform this miracle. Put some spittle on his eyes and laid hands on him. And the man said, I see men like trees walking. That's so pretty. This is in Mark 8:22. They came to Bethsaida, and some people brought a blind man and begged Jesus to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand, led him outside the village. So that means there were no eyes, right? Did you guys understand that? I'm just learning it right now. So what I'm asking you is because I'm in shock, right? When he had spit on the man's eyes and put his hands on him, Jesus asked, do you see anything? He looked up and he said, I see people. They look like trees walking around. Once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes, and then his eyes were open. His sight was restored, and he saw everything. Hey guys, gotta question you. Why would the blind man see trees walking? What is that symbolic for? Because everything is symbolic with God. I see people looking like trees walking. And listen to this. Listen to the perfection that you all think Jesus had, but he had to do it again. That's what I'm getting out of this. Okay, listen to me. There's a part in this story where Jesus didn't quite work out well, and was forced to do it again to get the optimum outcome. Thank you, Tiffany. He took him out of the way of others before healing. I know. And then I appreciate you understanding that. I get it. And then when Jesus tried it the first time, the blind man goes, I see people. They look like trees walking around. Why would he see and say that? And then I'm assuming that Jesus was like, oh, I did not put enough spittle in this man's eyes. Let me do it again. I did not put enough work in this project. I did not put enough work in this interview. I did not put enough work in this test. I did not put enough work in my children. Not that I'm saying anyone's a bad mother. I'm not saying that at all. I did not put enough work and thought in how I talk to people. Let me do it again. Yeah, let me do it again. And then Jesus does it again, and then it worked. Once more, Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes, and then his eyes were opened. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearer. Let's look at something else. Who's the one that died? What's his name? Ezekiel Expedite. All right, let me try it. Jesus heals from the dead. Jesus heals the dead son. Jesus heals, let me see, was it a son? Jesus heals from the dead. Jesus raises a dead girl and heals. Did you guys know there was a dead girl that Jesus healed? What? Let me just read this real quick. Jesus raises a dead girl and heals a sick woman. When Jesus had again crossed over by boat to the other side of the lake, a large crowd gathered around him. Then one of the synagogue leaders named Jairus came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, "My daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live." So Jesus went with him. A large crowd followed and pressed around him, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up to him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I could be healed. Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt it in her body that she was free from suffering. And at once, Jesus realized the power had gone out from him. Do you guys realize Jesus was a magician? This is ridiculous what I'm reading right now. I'm like, whoa. I'm speechless. At once, Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. Do you guys understand what that means? He turned around in the crowd and he said, "Who touched my clothes?" So let's just stop there for a minute. We're going to get to the little girl dying. Let's just stop there for a minute. When you're metaphysical, we all have the power to heal, honestly. We do. We have the power to heal others. We have the power to heal ourselves. Now, I know that's a tall order to even believe in, but it's there for you, right? Sometimes external forces don't allow you to be the personal healer. But when you trust a doctor, don't you make the doctor Jesus? Don't you believe that he can do a surgery and heal, right? So healing can come in small scales in your home through you. I promise you, right? I just find it interesting that the ability to sense that something structurally happened and Jesus felt it. And he trusted that which he felt, right? So when you're dating someone and you feel that someone is cheating, they are. You can call me for a reading if you want to. The bottom line is they are. How you believe it and stay in that belief system is your problem. Because no one's asking you to break up your relationship, your marriage. What they're saying is what you feel is accurate. What you do with the information is up to you. When you call me about information that you already have internally, and then I tell you the same information, don't fight me. Because you already knew. Proof or no proof. When you call me, I don't need the proof. I trust spirit. When you call me, you already know. You trust your intuition, your spirit. When something goes wrong, a lot of people like to say, women got the sixth sense. Everybody has the sixth sense. You know when somebody doesn't like you, it's energy. You know when you walk into a supermarket and you look behind, somebody was staring at you at the back of your head because it's energy. You felt it. So here when it says, a large crowd followed and pressed around Jesus, and a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and spent everything she had, yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, imagine if we had a Jesus, when she heard about Jesus, she was like, I got to get to this man. I'm making this shit up now, right? But I'm adding to it. I got to get to this man. When she heard about Jesus, she came up to him in the crowd, in a packed crowd. She came up to him. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a packed crowd. Jesus was moving, touching this person. It was a crowd, right? In a packed crowd, no less. And touched his cloak with intention, right? Everybody else didn't have the same intention as this woman. She had intention. This man is going around healing. I bet you if I just touch his cloak, I could be healed. That's how much she believed. Because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I could be healed. And she touched him with every belief in her power. And immediately her bleeding stopped. And she felt better in her body, that she was freed from suffering. And at once Jesus realized the power had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" "You see the people crowding against you," one of the disciples said, "and yet you can ask, 'Who touched me?'" Right? One of the disciples was like, "Jesus, all these people around you?" Like almost saying everybody touched your clothes. But Jesus kept looking around to see who had taken the power out of him. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, told him the truth. Now, again, I'm going to stop here for a minute because we have a real problem with truth. Everyone does. Omission of a story is a lie. If she would have stood there and said nothing, she probably would have bled again and bled to death. When you know something and you omit to say something about it, you are as bad as the person that lies. It's the same characteristics. Omission of the truth is a lie. All right, that's a side note. But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing what had happened to her, knowing that touching his cloak, and knowing that the bleeding stopped right away, came and fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be free from suffering." I love God. I love Jesus because Jesus didn't say, "I healed you. Aha, but me." He said, "The fact that you believed that you could do this, the fact that you believe that you can go back to school, the fact that you believe you can get a better job, the fact that you believe that you could pass this test has healed you." Wow. Go in peace and be freed from suffering. I'm shooketh. I'm shooketh. I'm shooketh and I'm loveth it. While Jesus was speaking, some people came from the house of Jairus, the synagogue leader, and saying, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore?" Talking about Jesus. Overhearing what they said, Jesus told him, "Don't be afraid. Just believe." Now I get it. The precursor to healing the daughter was the woman that had the issue with bleeding and touched his cloak. And when he made the stopped, oh, this is so profound. He stopped He looked for the person. Everybody at this point thinking Jesus is crazy because nobody touched his cloak. We're like packed in, 100 people surrounding Jesus. What is he talking about? And he waited until the woman confessed in front of the crowd, as embarrassed as she was. And he said to her, your faith healed you. What a gift. He said, go enjoy life, be healed. And then he gets to the daughter and they go, listen, at this stage of the game, Jesus might be able to heal a period. He cannot, this girl's dead. And Jesus, overhearing what they said, Jesus told him, don't be afraid. Just believe. He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. Remember again, Jesus did not have people vision the healings with their own eyes, but the disciples, he brought them in knowing that they were going to have the capability of healing themselves, right? Which is why he tried to teach them to walk on water, right? The minute they saw that they were walking on water, they panicked, right? And so he brought them in as the beginning part of understanding they too have the same powers that Jesus had. You have to what? Believe. He did not let anyone follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw a commotion with people crying and wailing. Hold on a second. I need some air. With people crying and wailing. He went in and said to them, why is all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead, but asleep. And then they laughed at him. Now, if you know Jesus, he don't like that. He don't take laughing. Like, no. And they laughed at him. And after he put them all out, okay, so what happened now? He has to get them out the house. No one gets to witness this. He took the child's father and mother and the disciples who were with him, and he went in where the child was. I'm not sure the parents or the disciples witnessed the healing, because it says here, he went in where the child was. He took her by the hand and said to her, Talitha koum, which means, little girl, I say to you, get up. Immediately, the girl stood up and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. At this, they were completely astonished. Then he gave strict orders not to let anyone know about this. He told them to give her something to eat. So he did let the parents witness. Okay, now we're talking about this, right? Because we want to get back to the book, right? We want to stay focused and get back to the book, which is move into communion with the soul of others and their purpose, their intention, and be clear to you. This is what Jesus did with those he healed. With all those whose lives he touched, Jesus healed all those who came to him, who sent others to him, supplicating for them. He did not perform a random healing. To have done so would have been to violate a sacred law of the universe. Allow each soul to walk its path. So there's a lot going on here. We're back to a disabled person, a dysfunctional heart, limbs that don't work, right? The soul came to complete a process. It does not matter if they're physically disabled, if they are mentally disabled. The soul lives. And so that soul has something to do with limbs or without, with sight or without. It still has a process here on earth. So don't have pity because my sister's special needs, because I see how much she touches others and heals others. Don't have pity when somebody is a paraplegic, but they win at the paraplegic Olympic Games. Don't have pity when, you know, a doctor, because there are so many paraplegics, create a prosthesis that helps you to walk. And half the times people can't even tell that you have a prosthesis. The soul came for something. And the soul may have come for you to meet up with that doctor so that doctor can perfect a particular type of prosthesis. Have pity not, right? Allow each soul to walk its path. And wasn't there something here about bless the soul? Just bless the soul, bless the choice. All right. Let me see what everybody is saying. He took them out of the way of others before healing. Yes. Jesus laid his hands on each of them and cured them. Yes. He walked on water. Yes. Faith of the parents and touch of Jesus healed the girl. I'm not confident that it was faith of the parents, right? I think it was, maybe it is faith. Maybe you're right. But I also think it was having the guts to say, do you heal? Because my daughter's dead. Do you heal? Some other people wouldn't have said it. Remember in this book that I'm reading right now, he says Jesus didn't just heal anybody. He didn't just heal. You're gonna have to come out your faith and say, out your face and say, you're right, Tiffany. I believe in you. I believe you can heal. Can you heal my daughter? That's so beautiful. Don't you think so? I think so. I think all this is beautiful. I think restructuring your life so that life could look beautiful to you and easy breezy and stress free. I think all that is cool. I love it. I love knowing that I have the opportunity to change my level of happiness. That maybe I have the opportunity to heal myself. Mm. That maybe I have the opportunity to reach out to others. And maybe, I don't know if I'm healing people. I know I'm talking to the souls of others. And I just like that. Right? And maybe when you go to work, maybe your presence heals others too. But maybe you just never thought about it that way before. Right? I bet you it does. All right. Let's get back to the book, I guess. Thank you for your patience, everyone. And Neil goes, but does that mean we must not help anyone without being asked? Surely not. We would never be able to help the starving children of India or the tortured masses of Africa or the poor or the downtrodden anywhere. All humanitarian effort would be lost, all charity forbidden. But we must wait for an individual to cry out to us in desperation, or for a nation of people to plead for help, before we allow to do what is obviously right. You see, the question answers itself, says God. If a thing is obviously right, do it. So this is where Neil gets a little confused, but it might be his white privilege, right? He's a little confused. That's why I sucked my teeth. Let me go back over this again. White privilege is so exhausting. It's so exhausting, God. Please stop the white privilege. Please, God. Okay. I know white privilege can stop. You want to talk about faith? I have faith. I have faith it will stop. I already believe. So, Neil says, but does that mean we must not help anyone without being asked? And then he answers, surely not, or we would never be able to help the starving children of India. Excuse you? You really think all children are starving in India, or just that part that you see coming through in America? That's the white privilege. I'm sorry. Or the tortured masses of Africa. Yeah, not every mass, like the hills have trash, right? You could stay right here and help your own, Neil. Trust and believe. All right, I'm getting out of control now. Or the poor or the downtrodden anywhere. All humanitarian effort would be lost, all charity forbidden. Must we wait for an individual to cry out to us in desperation, or for a nation of people to plead for help before we're allowed to do what is obviously right? So Neil's not getting it, right? But good for God. Good for God. God's helping him. God has a lot of patience. I would have gave up already. Be like, man, just come back next week. God says, you see, the question answers itself. If a thing is obviously right, do it. But remember to exercise extreme judgment regarding what you call right and wrong. A thing is only a thing. A thing is only right or wrong because you say it is. A thing is not right or wrong intrinsically. So I'll give you a really good example, right? Coming from New York, right? My son is like, I don't know, 10, 11, who knows? 10, I think it was 10. And he got a job working in Chicago on a movie. And we were there a day early. And coming from New York, if somebody held a cup out in the street, it meant they were looking for money. And so you would toss a coin in the cup, right? And we were in Chicago, and there was these bunch of men sitting on the sidewalk against the wall. And I did what was automatically natural for a native New Yorker. I took some coins and dropped it in the man's cup as I was walking by. Did not give eye contact, nothing. I just did the right thing that I had always done in New York. That man was so pissed at me. He was like, you threw money in my coffee? And I was like, what? He's like, this is my coffee. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Can I get you another coffee? And he waved me off in disgust, right? Why am I bringing up this point? Because a right thing in one area may not be the right thing in another area. These men were just doing what they do natural. They meet up in the street, they sit down in the sidewalk, leave enough room for you to pass by, drinking their coffee. They talking to each other. They're not looking at the people passing by. This is their world. And I interrupted somebody's world, calling them homeless. Because in my mind, that was homelessness. In their mind, this was communion of the souls. Can I tell you what that taught me? Never assume. Ever. Never. In anything, in any part of my life. It was a hard lesson. And look, I still remember the story. Why do I say that? A thing is only right or wrong because you say it is. A thing is not right or wrong intrinsically. Let me just go back a little bit. You see, the question answers itself. If a thing is obviously right, do it. But remember to exercise extreme judgment regarding what you call right and wrong. And I was completely wrong because my judgment was off. I only knew what I knew from my narrowed mind of being in New York City. That's all I knew. That's ridiculous. I learned that day. Alrighty now. Rightness or wrongness is not an intrinsic condition. It is a subjective judgment on personal value. By your subjective judgments, do you create yourself? By your personal values, do you determine and demonstrate who you are? The world exists exactly as it is so that you may make these judgments. If the world existed in perfect conditions, your life process of self-creation would be terminated. It would end. A lawyer's career would end tomorrow were there no more litigations. A doctor's career would end tomorrow were there no more illnesses. A philosopher's career would end tomorrow where there were no more questions. And God's career would end tomorrow were there no more problems. Precisely. You have put it perfectly. We, all of us, would be through creating were there nothing more to create. We, all of us, have a vested interest in keeping the game going. Much as we all say we would like to solve all the problems, we dare not solve all the problems, or there would be nothing left for us to do. Your industrial military complex understands this very well. This is why it opposes mightily any attempt to install a war, no more government anywhere. Your medical establishment understands this too. That is why it staunchly opposes it must. It has to force it. Your medical establishment understands this too. That is why it staunchly opposes it must. It has to for its own survival. Any new miracle drug or cure, to say nothing of the possibility of miracles themselves. That's true, because there is a cure for cancer, not the one that the girl just came up with. They always had the cure for cancer. Your religious community also holds this clarity. That is why it attacks uniformly any definition of God, which does not include fear, judgment, and retribution. Any definition of self, which does not include their own idea of the only path of God. All right. If I say to you, you are God, where does that leave religion? If I say to you, you are healed, where does that leave science and medicine? If I say to you, you shall live in peace, Where does that leave peacemakers? If I say to you, the world is fixed, where does that leave the world? What happens to the plumbers? The world is filled with essentially two kinds of people: those who give you things you want and those who fix things. In a sense, even those who simply give you things you want, the butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers, are all fixers. For to have a desire for something is often to have a need for it. That is why addicts are said to need a fix. Be careful, therefore, that desire does not become an addiction. Breathe. Breathe. We're going to go over that one more time. Just breathe. I think I'm telling myself to breathe, but you all breathe with me. Breathe through your nose. Get that air in your chest. Pump that chest out. Breathe out through your mouth. Breathe through your nose. Deep breath. Get that air in your chest. Breathe out. Let's do it a third time. Breathe through your nose. Fill your lungs up. Put your chest out. Breathe out. Okay. Let's go back up here. The world exists exactly as it is so that you make these judgments. If the world existed in perfect condition, your life process of self-creation would be terminated. It would end. A lawyer's career would end tomorrow, were there no litigations. A doctor's career would end tomorrow, were there no illness. A philosopher's career would end tomorrow, were there no questions. This is Neil talking, I think. Yes. And God's career would end tomorrow, were there no more problems. This is Neil talking. And God goes, precisely. You have put it perfectly. Notice God doesn't want to put him down. You have put it perfectly. We, all of us, would be through creating were there no more to create. We, all of us, have a vested interest in keeping the game going. Notice the strong use of the word game going. They put it in italics. Much as we all say we would like to solve all the problems, we dare not solve all the problems, or there would be nothing less for us to do. Your military understands this very well. That is why it opposes mightily any attempt to install a no-war government anywhere. Your medical establishment understands this as well. This is why it staunchly opposes. It has to, for its survival, any new drug or cure, to say nothing of the possibility of miracles they could be doing. Religious community also holds this clarity. That is why it attacks uniformly any definition of God which does not include fair judgment, retribution, right? What do we know about religion? Fear God. God will judge. There will be retribution. God is like, I'm not about that. Any definition of self which does not include their own idea of the only path of God. If I say to you, and I'm saying this to you in my feminine Tracy God's voice, everyone. If I say to you, you are God, where does that leave religion? You are God. Just like Jesus was God. You, Tiffany, Layla, who else is listening to me? Irie, Sweet Carmel, Lisa Stanford. These are all the people that's showing up on my feed. I don't know if they're still here, but it doesn't matter. Sunny, Black Coffee, No Cream, Cookie Twist, Evolving Beauty. You are God. Do you need religion? that offers up fear of God. You're going to be judged, retribution if you don't do the right thing. Half the times we don't know what the right thing is. But what if I just said you are God? Not God in a way where you get to go around hurting people, but God in a way where you can go around healing yourself and others. Isn't that the God you want to believe in, everyone? Not the mean God that religion tells us we need to fear? Not the slave God. Could there be a new God in the metaphysical world? Could we change structurally what has been put inside of us and get out of that old skin? Just imagine yourself dropping your old skin to the ground and emerging lighter and better because that old skin was so heavy. So much burden has been put on that old skin because of old belief system. Remember we talked about that with tarot class, right? Remember I said advertisement that the tarot class isn't about learning the tarot, that the tarot class is to get you to change your structural souls. And that's why I do tarot class. It's a trick, everyone. I'm not trying to teach you tarot. You get to learn tarot. And very well, might I add. But when you leave, your soul is restructured. That's what I'm offering up. I'm offering up the fact that you are God. And that is something metaphysically they do not teach in religion. And so there's this confusion between, Tracy, I love tarot, I love Jesus. Good. Love tarot, love Jesus, love God. No one's asking you to forget the power of why you're here, who got you here, who put the universe. Universe is just another word for God. Don't get twisted. I believe in the universe. Yeah, whatever. You believe in God. Who the hell created the universe? I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you that I teach tarot class starting April 15th. Side note, advertisement. Go to TraceyBrownlive.com. Go to shop. You can pay weekly or you can pay in full, whatever's your choice. It's on Zoom at 9 a.m. Get the book, Tarot Circles and Cycles. Get some tarot cards from Temu.com. Let me put it up again. Temu, Temu.com. And they cost like $2.99. So get 10 different tarot decks. Just have fun, people. My point to you is, what if I were to say to you, I'm back at the book now. What if I were to say to you, you are God? Has anybody ever said that to you guys? Has anybody said to you, you're God, you could do this? Can you imagine if somebody actually said that to you? I mean, seriously, can you imagine if your mother said to you, your father, you are God, Angel Reese. You could do this. You are God, Tracy. You can be a psychic. You are God. You can be a doctor. I'm just picking things. You are God. You can get your GED. You are God. You can get a better job. Has anybody ever said to you, you are God? Because you are. You're everything that God created. Why wouldn't God put himself inside of you like he did Jesus? The miracles that he gave Jesus wasn't solely for Jesus. It was an example for us to know that we have the ability to take the power of God and heal. Heal our mental health. Heal our souls. Heal from being sad, depressed, anxious. Not to say that there might things that is required to help us, like sleep, right? You really expect to heal if you're only sleeping 3 hours a night? It's no such thing. Some of us do need meds, But maybe the meds can be temporary. If we use other modalities to heal, then we can get off of meds. Some of us are overweight. We can heal that. And we all don't need Ozempic. It would be nice. It would be nice, right? To have access to Ozempic and lose 13 pounds in a week. But if you don't, you are God. You can do this. Remember I told you guys, I said to God, I am God. I love that, Tiffany. I didn't even see it there. Remember I told you guys, I said to God, I want bigger breasts. I don't know what I had back in different lives. I refuse to have little breasts. I need bigger breasts. Not that I was like being like a 5-year-old temper tantrum. I'm sure I said it nicely. I was like, God, it's not fair. Can I please have bigger breasts? You know what God gave me? Not bigger breasts, but nice full breasts. You know why? I found out that I was allergic to soy sauce, but I didn't know it. So every time I had soy sauce, my breast ballooned. Every time it ballooned, it wouldn't go back down to its original size. So it kept ballooning until it looked fuller, became fuller, and I was satisfied. I didn't need big breasts. I don't wear a bra to this day. Not that I realized I didn't need big breasts, but I just wanted, like, I just wanted it to be full. I just didn't want to be flat. And so I asked. I asked because I believed. When I believed, God provided. But He provided by way of soy sauce. And if I wanted my breasts to be like pow, because now my breasts are fuller. They don't go back to normal anymore, whatever normal was, which was flat, right? And so now they're fuller. And so when I went out on a date, all I had to do was eat something with soy sauce in it. And then my breasts would be like pow up in my chin. They would deflate because soy sauce doesn't keep them big. Soy sauce let them expand and then go down and then expand some more. But every time it expanded, it didn't go down. Okay, are we good? Because I asked for it. I said, this is what I want. Please, can I have bigger breasts? What do you think? I can't ask God for bigger breasts? He created them. You think God is going to be like, girl, that is nasty. You want bigger breasts. God is like, oh, why didn't I think of that in the first place, Tracy? Boom, bigger breasts. Fuck out of here. You're God. You are God. I'm telling you, you're God. How many of us have held a baby that's colicky or crying or whatever, and something about the hands of holding and the way you hold calms the baby down? That's called healing. See what I mean? Thank you, Tiffany. God said you have not because you asked not. I am God. Thank you, Tiffany. Sweet Carmel put the purple heart. Purple heart is what? Spiritual healing at its highest color. It's above your head. Purple, the color purple. All right, Tiffany, you got everything you need. Register and be excited to have you there. All right. Let me get my beautiful face back on the screen. Where am I? If I say to you, you are God, where does that leave religion? If I say to you, you are healed, where does that leave science and medicine? If I say to you, you shall live in peace, who wanted stability, Layla? If I say to you, you live in stability because you are God and you create that stability. Where does that leave the peacemakers? If I say to you, the world is fixed, where does that leave the world? What about the plumbers? The world is filled with essentially two kinds of people: those who give you things you want and those who fix things. In a sense, even those who simply give you things you want, the butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers — by the way, I'm the candlestick maker — are also fixers. What is that smell? It smells like sewage. For to have a desire for something is often to have a need for it. That is why addicts are said to need a fix. Be careful, therefore, that desire does not become an addiction. All right, I am going to stop here because I told you this book is one big run-on sentence, and I don't want to start a new topic, but we did get far. Now, guys, you guys are going to be disappointed in me because I may lose some of you, but I'm never worried about losses. Never. I am going to be doing tarot class for 6 weeks. So this topic will wait on page 49, 6 weeks from now. I'm not even looking at the date because I don't want to know. Let's see. 6 weeks from now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 weeks from now is May 20th. You will see me on Saturdays doing a celebrity reading or something spiritual, but we will not be in book club for the next 6 weeks. So it is what it is, huh? I'm not sad. I know that change is part of this whole gamut of life, and I'm always ready for the changes, but I have to change by way of my schedule because I don't believe in overwhelming my schedule, right? Being a psychic is heavy. It's a lot to emphasize what you all need to hear through spirit. And so it's difficult to do tarot class and then do book club. So I reserved this Saturday space for everything between 9 and 11. And so now we're alternating and bringing in tarot class, but tarot class is a paid event, which means you guys won't see me for a few 6 weeks. However, I love you. I hope I helped. Maybe take the time and go over the conversations with God from the beginning, right? Maybe catch up, right? See what those videos may be trying to tell you. And then we shall meet again on May 20th. Oh no, Tiffany, it's only on Saturdays. Every Saturday at 9 a.m. All right? Thank you, Sweets Carmel. Sweets Carmel knows. Every Saturday at 9 a.m. All right, guys. I love you. I thank you. I need you. You are everything to me. And so long. We will see each other again. You're welcome, Black Coffee. No cream. You're so welcome. Thank you, guys. I know it's a small group on Sunday, but I don't know. It feels perfect, right? Remember we were talking about perfect? Everything feels so perfect. It feels so right. What I can tell you is that a lot of people do look at the videos on their time over the weekend because the numbers do grow. I love you guys. Take it easy, and I will see you in 6 weeks. Get the book. Let me leave this up. Get the book, Tarot Wizard. Tarot Circle and Cycles by the Wizard, Jason D. McKean. Go to TraceyBrownLive.com. Go to shop. Pay weekly. Pay in full. Doesn't matter to me. I love you. I love you. I love you. See you later. Bye. Get in the book. Oh, get the book, sweet Carmel. Yes. Love you. We're all where we're supposed to be. That is thetruth.com. Love you. Bye.
Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Go to Tracey Brown Live. Gals and guys, go to Tracey Brown Live. Go